Yo, what is good? Welcome to another episode of Player Life. It is Tuesday, the 28th of June here in Tokyo, Japan. What is good? What is good? All is good here in Tokyo. Um, other than the fact that it's hot and humid, but in a way, I prefer it to winter. I do prefer it to winter. Gotta say that much. But yeah, especially since there's a lot of scantily clad hotties out walking out and about. Definitely a good time to be doing game here in Tokyo. Um, yeah. So in today's episode, I want to talk about why it's easier to hook up with 18 to 21-year-olds, 18 to 22-year-olds around those age groups. Let me see. Yeah, no, it's just one second. The fuck? All right. No, I was just looking for something. But yeah, it's basically there's just less hassle, there's less strings attached, there's less in general, there's just less bullshit when you're dealing with younger chicks, and there's definitely no complaints about that because I mean 18 to 20-year-old chicks are in the prime of their life. Generally, depending on the girl, generally by the time she reaches 21, she's at the peak. She's at her most beautiful she's ever going to be at, like, just in general. And sometimes girls, especially these days, girls actually they're developing a fashion sense younger and younger. So there's a lot of 18-year-old girls that are absolutely fucking smoking hot. Like, not only are they're young and hot, but their fashion is on point too, because they just girls are just they're just maturing younger than younger and younger. Um, just in the world we live in this day and age. But so yeah, it's like I mean, I'm gonna choose an 18 to 21 year old, 22-year old over a 30-year old 10 out of 10 times. There's not even going to be one time. If I have a choice, like, I mean, it's so funny. So many guys like cope. They cope, like they say, oh, it's like, oh, but she's not mature enough. Oh, she's gonna be so annoying. And it's like, no, like, that's a fucking cope. That is just a cope. Um, and a lot from my experience, it's a lot of times the opposite. It's complete opposite. Um, I just find 18 to 21, 22-year olds a lot of the times they're more pleasant to be around. Obviously depending on the girl, like it depends on the girl, but it yeah, they're just more positive. They're not as jaded. They're not as entitled. They're not as obnoxious. They're just not as aggressive. They haven't had their hearts broken. Maybe they've never had it broken, or at least they haven't had their heart broken too many times. Maybe once, twice. Puppy love kind of shit. But yeah, they're just more fun to be around. And not only are they more fun, they're obviously fucking hot, like seriously hot. Yeah, and it's always busted guys that pretend like, oh, busted guys with no game, that like, busted chicks and busted guys that like kind of criticize people like me that like successfully hook up with like seriously hot, like 18 to 21-year-old chicks. Like, it's always busted chicks, jaded chicks, or like guys that couldn't do it themselves. And it's like, I will never ever apologize for wanting to hook up with hot chicks in the prime of their lives. Um, Definitely will never ever apologize for it. Anyway, let's see. Victor Orange in House says, where are the best places in Tokyo to talk to 18 to 21-year-old girls? Straight off the bat, Shibuya, without a doubt, Shibuya. There's no other place in Tokyo that has the amount of hot girls congregated into such a small area. It's like hands down Shibuya City, Tokyo. Unbelievable spot. Talked about Shibuya on this stream so many times before. Um, but it's yeah, Shibuya's yeah. I've talked the reason Shibuya is so amazing is like I said because it's kind of like the youth hub of Tokyo. So it like and there's a lot going on there. It's like the one of the busiest places in Tokyo. Um, so on one hand, there's like an insane amount of hot girls there. Like it's incredible. Like when you come to Japan to Tokyo the first time, if you go there like on a nice summer day, if you go there on a Saturday, coming from a Western country, like on a Saturday afternoon, it's sunny outside. You'll literally be shocked. Like you'll be so shocked at how many hot girls there are just everywhere. Like sexy hot girls everywhere. Like short skirts, high heels, everything. Like just yeah, it's wild. I'll never I just it's hard to get bored of somewhere like Shibuya. It's really like if as long as you're straight, as long as you have any amount of testosterone running through your blood, it's a hard place to get bored of. Even I go there so much, like, and sometimes I get a little tired of going there, but I'm never bored of looking at the hot chicks. Like, just it just doesn't get boring. But yeah, so that answers your question. There's no competition. There's a lot of other places in Tokyo, but Shibuya is definitely the best place. There's other places like Shinjuku, but Shinjuku, but yeah, Harajuku, places like that. But you know, Shibuya takes the lead by a long shot. Um, Gabriel Ian House, what's up, brother? What is good? Um, yeah, I usually live stream on yeah Monday, yeah Japanese time, Tuesday morning. It's nighttime here now. It's 8:30 p.m. But one of the reasons I missed today's live stream is because I had a seriously hot, like objectively speaking, I would say she's a not 100% hands down objectively she was a 10 out of 10 girl, like seriously smoking hot. Um yeah, and she was in that age group. She was in that age range, 18 to 21. And I was honestly kind of like cuz when I've been let's just say I've been doing a lot of nightlife recently. For the past, well, yeah, I think every weekend I do some nightlife for the past, I don't know, almost since the start of the year. But yeah, I think I've done more nightlife this year than in previous years. But when I've been going out, I've just been, I mean, I get so many contacts, just having a good time, floating around, and that's what you have to do. Float around, getting contacts, like having a good time, vibing, just enjoying yourself, talking to hot girls everywhere, and just like fucking killing it. And so this girl that I met yesterday was a girl that I met 2 weeks ago, but I wasn't really sure which girl it was. I mean, I talked to like a bunch of seriously hot girls, and sometimes these girls don't have profile pictures on their messaging app. Sometimes the hottest girls don't have profile pictures for some reason. It's I don't know if it's a trend or something, but in it seems to be like that some of the hottest girls that I exchange line is the messaging app here. It's for some weird reason they don't have a profile photo. I don't know if it's a trendy thing to do or what, but it just always seems that way. But anyway, it was one of these girls that didn't have a profile photo, so I wasn't really sure which girl it was. But yeah, it was just one girl. I met her last night, and it just turns out it was one of I remember when I saw her. I remembered. I was like, "Holy shit! Okay, it's this girl," because sometimes I go on dates and I'm not quite sure which girl it was that who is it going to be that it's going to show up, because that's the kind of numbers I run. You know, could talk to like 30 girls and then more, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how many girls, but I haven't ran the numbers. But let's just say I talked to a lot of girls, like bouncing around, exchanging Instagram, line. But yeah, this girl was just a girl that I probably only talked to for like max 2 minutes in a nightclub, and yeah, it was one of the really, really, really hot girls that was in the club. Um, yeah, she could speak fluent English. Um, but yeah, like, super hot. But it was just quick exchange. She seemed really receptive, very receptive to me talking to her. But her friend kind of tried to cock block, so I just exchanged. Sometimes if a girl's friend tries to cock block, the best thing you can do is just like just once they start trying to cock block, just try and get their contact at least, because you kind of don't want to, you can try and redeem the situation with their friends and whatnot, but sometimes it's just best to get their contact and bounce and leave them to their own devices. Just just there's no if they, because there's sometimes these cock blocking friends, there's not much, they just don't like they're just not going to like you even if you try and be civil and nice to them. They're just going to continue to cock block you and make it work. You're going to kind of dig yourself a hole. So in this case, her friend was dragging her away, kind of being a bitch. So I was just like, okay, here, listen, just give me your line before you go. And it was really nice to meet you, and just leave a good impression. And it was very straightforward. Funnily enough, she messaged me later that night and was at look at like, where are you, kind of thing. So she was keen. I knew she was keen. So what do? I just set up the date. Just set up the date. No bullshit. Oh, what'd you have for dinner last night? Oh, what did you do today? Oh, what's your favorite color? No, like, it was nice to meet you. Let's have wine, or let's have a glass of wine when you're free. Or not even when you're free. Like say the date, time, location. Always like take the initiative, um, and like try and set up the date. Um, Let me see exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. Okay, so what I always do, I always send them as soon as I get their contact. I always send it, like, I usually just say Mac with it, like, just because I don't want to lose their contacts. I've explained this before. Like, you always send a sticker or something as you're exchanging contacts, just so they're, like I said, I'm like exchanging like sometimes over 10 lines a night. I didn't even remember which girl this was until I met her. So that, yeah, but at least she was in the top messages, because I send a sticker, or it can be just, I send my name, like, Mac, nice to meet you, whatever. um and she replied to me, with her name, and she said, later that night, she said, are you still at such and such a place? So she was keen, like, she wanted to meet. And I had left. I was in a different club at that stage, and she was also. So it is what it is. I didn't try and continue. But the next, I think, was on the next month. That was a Saturday night. On Monday, I hit her up and said, "Yo, it was nice to meet you on Saturday night." She messaged back, "Hey, it was nice meeting you as well," with a wink face. Wink face. When girls like when girls send a wink face, it's on. Like, it is on. It's really on. Yeah, it's on. Like, I don't know if it's a Japanese thing. It's like, I don't think it means as much in Western countries. But she said that, and I just straight to the point. Straight to the point. Once you realize a girl's into you, there's no real reason to bullshit. Like, there's no reason to be like, oh, sending bullshit questions and shit. So I just said, are you free for a drink on Monday evening? Straight to the point. Monday evening. And she said, yeah, I'm free. No bullshit. No bullshit. Younger girls don't give you bullshit. This is time and time again. I always experience, it's the same thing. They're just like, younger girls, or there's less, like, less bullshit, basically. How else do you want me to say it? But I responded, yeah, nice. I want to take you to a nice bar. Can you meet me at such and such a station at 7 p.m.? So yeah, I said the station and the time, like, so it's very precise because you can't be bullshitting with these chicks, you know. You just got to be got to give them instructions. She said, "Sounds good. I'll see you there." I said, "Great. Looking forward to seeing you then." So that was like a week prior. So this is important. If you like arrange a date with a girl at like a week prior, you got to check in with them like the day, you know. I think it was so I checked in with her early, you know, at around lunchtime on the day we're supposed to meet because it's like a week ago. It's you haven't contacted them, so it's important. You want to check in. So I just said, "Hey, are you still good for 7 p.m.?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, let's meet at the east exit." Winky, winky face. She checked in with me and said, "Hey, can we actually meet around 8 p.m.?" I said, "Sure, that's fine," because I didn't have any other plans. So my plan was to bang this girl. So that was my only plan for the night. So it's fine by me. You don't need to be all this bullshit. Oh, she's changing the plan. Oh, she's making no. Like if you're gonna be like that, like spargy about things, you're gonna with with chicks, you're gonna have to like give tiny small concessions. I'm not talking about concessions where you're like, oh, you're gonna if she hit me up and said, "Oh, can we meet at 8 p.m. at a different station?" I'd be like, nah, nah, no, we can't. Like well, like 8 p.m. at the same location, that's fine. It's just an extra hour. Um, you know. And I said, sure, that's fine. She messaged me back and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I think it's actually gonna be 8:30. I'm so sorry." I said, sure, no problem. Like I said, I didn't have any strict. My only plans were to bang this girl, so whatever. Um. Anyway, you know, I went there 8:30, and I saw her waiting. Sure enough, at the east exit, and holy shit, it was the hottest girl I talked to on that night that I went out. Like the hottest girl for sure. And I talked to this super hot porn star on like I wouldn't say super hot, but she was a porn star. Like she was a hot porn star. And this girl was like I don't know, she's a 10. If you want like I want to show receipts on here, but if you really want to see receipts, consider signing up to my subscription service. And that's where you can see receipts. Um you know, because I can't really, you know, I'm not going to be showing girls' faces on YouTube. Like, you know what I mean? But she was a fucking like 10 objectively. Um, in the prime of her life, a fucking jewel, you know, a fleeting jewel. Because yeah, good times, gotta say. But yeah, if you want to see receipts, if you want to know exactly how to do this shit, consider signing up to um my subscription service. Just costs $99 a month. You don't have to, you're not locked into it. You can unsubscribe at any time. We get access to blog content, private Telegram group. This is where you're going to see all kinds of receipts, you know, advice, you know, cold approaches, all that kind of stuff, and a monthly webinar on Zoom. So if you're looking to sort your day game out, and day game, you know, is the last bastion of hope. You know, it's like, do you think I'd ever like? Let me just be clear about something. Do you think I'm ever gonna like that a girl like that is ever gonna like match with me on a dating app? I know that she's not. Like a girl, the girl that I met last night is just. I'm not gonna have a chance with her in on a dating app. I'm just not. I'm not in that like top like echelon of looks. I don't have it. But in real life, I have fucking game for days. And I have charisma and I know how to dress and I know how to talk and I know how to deal with these chicks. But yeah, if you're interested in that subscription service to sort your game out, um you know, there's a link in the chat. But let me just check the chat. Gabrielle says, I'd go to Tokyo just for Hitomi Tanaka. No idea who that is, but I presume she's some naughty girl. Kane says, how long did it take you to learn Japanese? Took me, I mean, I'm still learning Japanese, but it's like you're never done learning a language. But I mean, to become like somewhat proficient in it, mm, I could deal with, like, I was dealing with chicks. I was going on dates and using broken Japanese when I was completely, like, when I had no Japanese. So that was one of the best ways that I learned Japanese, was dealing with chicks. But I'd say after around 2 years, I became proficient enough to be able to be comfortable and like do entire dates just using Japanese. Like I even after a year, probably I was like, really basic Japanese. But um, it's just learning a language is just, it's like an ongoing process. Right now, I've been in Japan 7 years, so socially Japanese is absolutely zero issues. I'm fluent socially. There's different levels of fluency. I mean, it might be a problem with, but for game, for girls, for social situations, for hanging out, all that, yeah, I'm fluent. Certainly. Um, but yeah, for business conversations and technical stuff, obviously not as proficient. But uh, Salvador says, what percentage of people in Tokyo are wearing masks still? Probably like 99%. 99% of people are wearing, literally like 99%. I don't know. I'm so proud of the fact that I've never worn a mask in public in Japan. I mean, it's just my body, my choice, all that shit. Gabrielle with the Gaelga says Buchel Bayra. Good stuff, man. Good stuff indeed. Um Kane says, and can you read and write in Japanese or only spoken? I can read, I mean, it's similar. I mean, it's an ongoing. I can read decently and I can write decently in Japanese. Um uh yeah, so Mackie Roll says, which places you get girls like that too? Um, which places? I mean, like I said, Shibuya. I mean, the place I got that girl was, it wasn't from Daygame, but I mean, you could get girls like that from Daygame, absolutely. But I was from Night Game. Um, so the best way to get girls is Daygame. Second best for me, is probably Night Game. Um, you know, uh, yeah. So Daygame, Night Game, they're the two that are, you're really like, for 95% of guys, 90% of guys, like, I'm obviously speaking to the vast majority of guys. I'm not, because there's a percentage of guys that can go on dating apps and get tens, but I'm not one of those guys. Most guys are not one of those guys. So you're gonna have to figure it out, And unfortunately, the hilarious thing is most guys continue to try and get hot girls from dating apps. It might happen once in a blue moon that you get a 10 off a dating app, but yeah, it's not a strategy. You can, if you try and you consistently make efforts, you can regularly get tens if you really know how to do it. And if not tens, like sevens, and at least sixes, sevens, eights, nines. It'll be a mixture. I mean, to be honest, like if a six wears the right clothes, she can look super hot. Like, it's a lot of a girl's hotness is down to, the way she, it can be down to how much effort she puts into her look. Um, you know what I mean? But yeah. So anyway, back to the story. She shows up, um, and yeah, she was just like, 170 centimeters tall, just like fucking seriously hot Japanese girl, like tall, curvy, in all the right places, like a fucking model, like a 10, like a straight up 10. If any guy, one of you guys saw Ford River, you'd be like, that's a fucking 10. In the prime of her life. And I just did the same thing I always do. Like, the thing is, you don't, like, when I meet a girl, I kind of just assess the her body language, assess. I already knew that she had a high interest level in me. So I think I probably could have like taken her directly home. And one of the reasons I think I could have done that is because because when I met her, she walked towards me and went in. She opened her arms for a hug. She's not a very typical Japanese girl, and she wasn't a typical because she could speak English, and she comes from a wealthy family, went to a private international school, so she was a little bit different. But these are kind of signs that, like, all these signs, the fact that she like didn't like she complied with all of my instructions, she came through, she didn't like ask to meet anywhere, she came in for the hug. She didn't have any objection to the fact that I wanted to meet at my station. All this tells me that this girl was DTF. And a lot of the time, when these 18 to 21, 22 year olds, a lot of the time when they do come through to meet you, a lot of the time they're DTF, like, because they're just, I don't want to be as naive to say that they're new to the game, because they're not new to the game. Girls have been in the game since they're in high school, I guess, and they've been dating guys. And these girls are not innocent, but they're still not at the point where they really care about their SMV going into decline. They're still like coming into themselves, and they're still like at their peak, and they're going to be at their peak for another few years. So um it's like, yeah, they're kind of more interested in guys that they're just attracted to. Like, they don't really care so much about your status. And, like, of course, girls, they're attracted to, they're going to be, if you have status, they're going to be attracted to it. But it's more just about your look. Does she like your vibe? Does she like your fashion? Does she think you're sexy? Does she think you're attractive? You know, that's that's why these girls are easier to hook up with, because it's like they're just kind of more interested in you rather than like what you have to offer. They're more like going on, pure attraction level. So that's why they're easier to fuck, and that's why there's just less of a pain in the fucking ass. So when you're dealing with these chicks, you're kind of trying to, you want to be looks maxing, you want to be looking your best. It's more about your fashion, your fitness, your style, your game. It's not about your money or all that extra shit that older chicks, all these, like, when chicks start going, 22, 23, 20, they start going in like looking for more, like, guys that have status and high value and stuff, because they're looking for more like long term, like boyfriend material kind of shit. um mm, Gabrielle says, percent wise, Mac, are you on the street or in a venue? I mean, it's like, I mean, the way I do day game is just like, I just do it. I don't go out to do day game specifically unless I'm like teaching it, unless I'm doing a boot camp teaching guys, which is, that's different. But I do day game as part of my, like, just part of my daily life. So I'm going somewhere, I'm out and about, I see a hot girl, like a really hot girl that I like, I'll approach girls like that. I don't necessarily go out to do day game anymore, just because I don't need to, just because I have it as part of my lifestyle, unless, like I said, I'm doing a boot camp or something. Um, but yeah, I mean, at the weekends, when it's night game, generally, in a venue. Um, I don't really know about percentages. I don't know how I would dice that up, but yeah, it's a mix of both. Like I said, I don't have any dating apps on my phone right now, and I don't need them because they don't offer. I don't like. There's just no point for me to use a dating app. It's like, what am I? I'm going to get fives and sixes on dating apps. What, when I can get tens in real life? It's like, you know what I mean? I have to fight. for scraps. Like, I mean, but I mean, a six isn't necessarily a scrap, but I mean, it's just like it's just a different game. Dating apps are shit. I'm not a fan of them. Um, in certain circumstances, they're necessary, almost, like, depending on your location. But where I'm at, certainly not, certainly not necessary, and not ideal, because I'm gonna get, I always say, I like to use the term getting ripped off. Like, when I use a dating app, I'm getting ripped off, because in real life, I can get with hotties, like fucking hot girls in the prime of their lives, stunningly hot girls. On dating apps, I'm getting like, she might be bangable, but oh yeah, okay, but like, nothing, like, just no. It's just like, either, the only kind of girls I'll match with on dating apps are, yeah, okay, she's bangable, she might be, sex might even be good, but either that, or all the way to the bottom. Like, it's like, it's never the, maybe once in a blue moon, like, you match with a super hottie, but then it's a fucking struggle to try and meet them. Bullshit, garbage. Do day game, night game. It's better, like, way better. Like, you're just getting fucking ripped off, like, on dating apps. Mm. But yeah, like I said, met up with her. She was like probably down just to go to my place, but I just didn't want to shoot myself in the foot by, like, being too direct. She was a fucking stunner. You want to kind of, you know, I don't want to say I was playing it safe, but I didn't, I was actually hungry as well. So I wanted to just get a bite to eat, have a glass of wine with her. Um, just a small bite to eat, like, a really good thing to do with a chick, like, if it's just casual, like, first date kind of thing. Like, I really hate going for, like, really official dinners, like, oh, we're gonna have dinner together, because you have to go and order a big dinner, and it's like all this, like, the best thing you can do, thing I've been doing sometime recently, is, like, going to a nice. I have a bunch of. I live in a nice enough area, so there's a bunch of venues. So, wine bars, pizzerias, and stuff. So there's this Italian place. Just order a pizza, get a bottle of wine, and just share it. It's not a big deal. It's leaves it. It leaves a good impression. It's fashionable. It's a nice place. It just leaves a good impression. you know. So I took her there, and as usual, when we're finished, you don't delay. You don't, like, oh my, oh, what are we gonna do? Oh, do you want to come back to my place? No, it's just like, oh, okay, let's go for a walk, or let's go to the next place. That's what I said to her exactly. I said, oh, okay, let's go to the next place. I paid the bill, and I just start walking towards my place. You know, and there's a smaller venue really close to my house, and I said, oh, well, I was going to take you here, but how about we just go back to my place and have another drink in my house? And she was not even a bit of hesitation. So yeah, she was down. And yeah, like, I think, like, actually, on the way to my place, I had been. The thing is, you need to be escalating too. Like, I was obviously touching her leg, yeah, touching her hands throughout the date. Just gradually escalating with her. So, but by the time we got to my house, there was absolutely zero resistance, and yeah, I mean, she spent the night, and we just fucked all night. It was insane. I'm in bits today. Like, when you fuck all night, it's like serious exercise. Like, I'm talking, like, you're fucking a girl, like, all these crazy different positions, like seven, like, I think I must have fucked her like 7 times or something. I'm like, it's like I worked out yet. I didn't even work out yesterday, but like, like, fuck, it's like a serious workout, like, serious fucking workout. But yeah, good cardio. But Gabrielle says San Diego has a legion of hotties. Latinas gone wild. Good stuff. Good place to be. But it's always a good sign when when the chick leaves a bunch of her jewelry, like all of her jewelry at your place. Like it's quite common for girls to maybe leave an earring or something, and it's like, okay, it could be a mistake. If it's just like one earring or something, it can kind of be a mistake. But when girls like leave like big items, like like something very noticeable, like all of her jewelry, like her bracelet, her earrings, her like her rings, um, you know, it's like, okay, she wants to fuck again. That's a like if like I said, if they leave one earring, it could be a mistake. But when a sign that a girl really wants to fuck you again is like I said, if they leave big like big items, you're not gonna forget all your jewelry, like you know what I mean. So that's a sign that a girl wants to see you again, because it's more like kind of like a strategy sometimes. I mean, it could be a mistake, but girls definitely leave items sometimes when they really want to see you again, because they want another excuse. Girls are kind of indirect with girls don't like to be like very direct about wanting to see you again. Um, yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, all like you're not gonna forget like one ring, two rings, two earrings, and a bracelet. You're not gonna forget all of that. Like um, if you it's not really a mistake in that case. It's like, okay, you did a good job, and she wants to uh, she wants to bang again. Um, yeah, so good times indeed. My ex left a day after pill on the floor. Hmm. What's that? What's that about? Hidden. Yeah. So are you telling me she didn't take her pill or what? Um. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, yeah. It's always a weird thing if you definitely. It's always on in the back of your mind if you raw dog a chick, that like is she really like, because some you want to know if they're on the pill or not. So before you raw dog, so it's like, is she lying? Is she actually on the pill? Or is she just like, but if you really want to be safe about it, obviously you got to wrap up. But you but let me just share this article by Chateau Artiste. Okay, I'm just gonna read the 18 to 22-year-old section. This is an article by Chateau Artiste: The Difficulty of Gaming Women by Age Bracket. Um, okay. Okay, so 18 to 22-year-olds. Hard to believe, but it's often been easier to bed very young women than an older woman. If you're an older man, this is because 20 to 40% of women are specifically attracted to older men. It is hardwired in them, and this hardwiring can be reinforced by poor family upbringing resulting from divorce or parents or absentee fathers. Single moms are the greatest source of future generations of slutty daughters the world has ever known. I agree with. I don't agree with all of this, but yeah, I mean, it's. I agree with the fact that it's definitely, uh, yeah, that all younger girls can be attracted to older men, but I don't necessarily believe that the girl doesn't necessarily have to come from a bad upbringing or a broken home or anything. This particular girl from last night came from, like, she's a rich girl from like, she told me she gets on really well with like all of her family. um she's really good relationship with her parents and her siblings. So it doesn't necessarily. And this girl was calling me daddy during sex, which was pretty hot. So um like I said, this girl is, I'm under no illusions. This girl definitely has been a naughty girl. She's definitely not new to hooking up or sex. I knew that just from just from the way we had sex. But do I give a shit? No, because she was a fucking 10. Um, I'm not looking to wife this girl up or anything. I'm just looking to have a good time, Um, but anyway, uh, your goal is to identify which 18 to 21 year olds are amenable to being seduced by you. That's it. That's the thing. You want to find the girls that are open to being seduced by you. I mean, it's the same with all girls. Like, it's like your game can be so good. Your game can be like perfect. You can have 10 out of 10 game, but if the girl isn't open to being seduced to you, then you can't seduce them. It's like when you cold approach a chick, it doesn't matter. You could have the perfect approach. You could be stylish as fuck, smooth as fuck. Some girls just are not open to being seduced by you. So look for girls that are open to being seduced. Since a majority will balk at the idea, you should learn quickly, identify, and next them. Thankfully, most girls aren't brazen cock teases and will make their lack of interest known early on. Beware, though, that a small minority of barely legal, rapacious gold diggers will try to keep you on tenterhooks, extracting your resources for little in return. A simple preemptive qualification should suffice to smoke them out. Like at the start of the episode, I talked, I read out exactly our text message exchange. Um, this girl was purely interested to me based on looks. There was nothing else. I didn't. When I met this girl, we exchanged contacts. I didn't buy her a drink. We didn't. We talked for a maximum of 2 minutes. I would say even less than 2 minutes. 2 minutes. It was a very brief interaction. It was a very brief thing. It was just purely based on looks. Her friend eventually came over and cock blocked. I got her line. I got her. I exchanged contacts. As that was happening, and it was like, although her friend tried to cock block, she couldn't cock block me getting her number. So, and the girl was, she was not interested in me for anything other than the fact that she liked how I looked. That was the only thing. And obviously the way I spoke to her, and she was, it's like sometimes if a girl is attracted to you, you can only fuck it up by being a dickhead or being a square or having terrible game, being awkward and nervous, of which I am none. I'm smooth. I'm chill. I'm relaxed. I'm genuinely not nervous. I've done probably thousands of no, definitely thousands of approach. I've talked to thousands of girls, so it's like there's genuinely no like no awkwardness or no like, and that's extremely attractive. Like it's an extremely attractive quality for women in men. When they like, because they just know like you have experience, and they want a guy with experience. They don't want a guy that's going to be awkward and fumbling around and like doesn't know how to fuck them properly. They want a guy that knows their body inside out and can really make them have a good time and make them feel good and make them come and make them, that's why, that's what the younger girls are interested in. There's no extra bullshit. Oh, what's your job? What do you do? How much money do they make? None of that shit. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They really don't. I'm not saying, but it will come. For most of these girls, it will come. They haven't gotten to that stage yet. But this girl will probably get to that stage too. No, she will get to that stage eventually. She'll get to the stage where she's gonna make guys work for it. She's gonna be, concerned about their job, what they do, and all this. Hey, the guy's gonna have to take her on multiple dates. All this extra shit. None of which I did. Well, I took her on a date, but a very casual date. Took her straight home after. Fucking just had the most insane hot sex all night, like just crazy. But yeah, I mean, so it continues. You can bang an 18 to 20-year-old surprisingly quickly because they have little ASD, anti-slut defense. This is because they do not have a long history of sluttiness common to older women, which needs to be rationalized away by posturing as a paragon of chaste virtue. Yeah, basically what he's saying is they just haven't like I'm under no illusions. This girl definitely has been a naughty girl. She's definitely been with other guys, but they just haven't been with that many. They haven't been with as many. They haven't had their little hearts broken as many times. They might have had it once or twice or maybe never, but they don't, they're still in like they're still learning about dating and like, still coming into themselves. They still don't really care. I think a lot of them don't really care about yet. It will come, like I said, it will come. But they don't care as much about what they can get from men. They're just interested in having a fun time with a guy that they consider to be a hot dude. That like they just want to like they want to meet a cool guy that's fun, that's gonna like blow their fucking back out, make them come, have passionate hot sex with them. A guy that can make them laugh, make them have a fun time. A guy that's interesting to them. That's pretty much all they're interested in, and that's why they're fun to be around. That's why they're fun. Like, a lot of, like I said, a lot of guys, they have this cope, like especially guys that have no game and they're fucking busted and they're jaded, they're angry. They'd be like, oh, I don't like younger girls. They're so immature. They're so, oh, she's so hot, but she's so immature. I just can't talk to them. No, you're just fucking. You have no game, and you couldn't get with them. These fucking idiot guys. Like, so many guys do this. So fucking many guys do this, and it pisses me off because it's like you're full of shit. I've been with so many of these younger, hotter girls, and I mean, they're more fun to be around than these older chicks because they don't have all this baggage, they don't have all this extra shit with them, and they're not as jaded, and I mean, they're not as dumb as you think they are. I mean, like, they're really not. I mean, it depends on the girl, really, but you know. But my point is, a lot of guys like it's a cope when they say, "Oh, yeah, she's hot, but I really wouldn't want to get with her because she's just not as. Oh, I just can't have a good conversation with her." It's just, dude, shut the fuck up. You couldn't get with her if you want. Like, you've no game. That's the only. It's a cope. It's a cope. That's all it is. Just learn game and if they could get with them, they would. It's not a thing what they're choosing. Oh, I'm going to choose a 32-year-old 35-year-old girl over a hot like 20-year-old girl. No, like if you had a choice, you would choose the 20-year-old girl. But nah, I've just had a bunch of guys. Like, I meet guys that, you know, but I don't like to hang around guys with that cope like that. It's like it's like I don't like guys that aren't genuine and don't tell the truth. If every guy is truthful, to themselves, they would be like, yeah, I would want the 20-year-old over the 30-year-old or 35-year-old or even 28-year-old. Um, but yeah, so yeah. Yeah, so let me see. You can bang an 18 to 20-year-old surprisingly quickly because I read that already. A young woman simply won't perceive sex with you as an admission of sluttiness. She is innocent to herself as well as to you. Plus, actual slutty behavior has been defined down so that 5 partners today is equivalent to 1 partner 30 years ago. Yeah, I mean, we live in an age where it's like it's acceptable. It's socially acceptable for these girls as well to sleep around. So, I mean, if you have game as a guy, it's a good time to be like. It's maybe not a good time to have a family and all that, and get married and all that, but it's certainly a good time to live the player lifestyle. There's probably been never been a better time. There's probably never been a better time to live the player lifestyle than today. If you have game and if you understand and you're red pill and you understand female nature and all that, there's probably never been a better time. Like I said, not a great time to be getting married and being trying to have a family and all that, but because just it's like it's just you're asking for trouble. Right? It's just not. Yeah, it's just we live in a different era. Um, caveat to the above. Although you can get the bang with an 18 to 21-year-old very quickly, you should not prime the path to banging with obvious signs of pri- physical escalation. There's a high risk with very young women that escalating kino will be perceived as pervy or creepy. Hmm. Don't necessarily don't necessarily agree with this. I don't. I think you should escalate. You need to escalate. I mean, it depends on the girl. It depends on the girl. It depends on some girls are not as open to it in, especially Japanese girls. Some girls aren't as open to it in public, but like light escalation, yes, you should escalate. I'm not talking about like French kissing the girl like in public or in the restaurant or bar, but touching her hand, touching her knee, touching her legs, these, you should do this, definitely. Definitely. I don't agree with the fact that this, if she thinks it's pervy or creepy, she's not into you. So I don't agree with this necessarily. I don't agree with this flat out. Actually, if she thinks you're pervy or creepy for touching her leg or hand, then she's not that into you, and yeah, she's probably not gonna want to come back to your place anyway. Um, so this means no PDA, no innocent touching of her erogenous zones, and no raunchy sex talk. Um, yeah, I wouldn't. I agree with that. I mean, I don't agree with talking about sex before you've had sex with any girl. I don't like. There are exceptions to the rule, obviously, but in general, like you should never start talking about your like sex with a girl before you fucked her. You should never do that. Like it does. It's not a good. It's just it can just leave the wrong. It just sets up too much expectation, and girls can start to overthink the scenario. Then they can start to overthink the situation that they're in, and not very, yeah, it's not a very productive thing to do. You definitely have a higher chance of shooting yourself in the foot, and making her not want to come back to your place if you start talking about sex before you've had sex, or before you're in a private location that gives you a chance to escalate with her fully into sex. So I don't advise any guys to start talking about sex or start. Yeah, it's not a good idea. You don't need to do it. There's no need to do it. Just you can escalate in other ways. Like I said, touch her hand, touch her legs. Depending on the girl, you could start making out with her in public. You could start making out with her in the bar. Um, this girl was giving me so many signs that she was into me, like just from her body language and the way she was looking at me and the way she was blushing and the way she brushed her hair back to show me her neck, that I actually did escalate with her to like making out with her as we're walking back to my place. Um, you want to keep it on the superficial friend tip until she is in your place. I wouldn't say that you need to be that much, like that I wouldn't agree with that you have to keep it so PC until you're in your place. I agree that you shouldn't talk about sex until you've actually had sex with her. Um, you shouldn't bring up like sexual, like start openly talking about sex and her sexual past or your sexual past before you've had sex with them. Then you should escalate rapidly. You'd be amazed how fast the young woman sheds her clothes when the bang is in sight. Very little foreplay is required. The sex will be, as you can imagine, the hottest you will ever have. I mean, I love foreplay. What's wrong with foreplay? I don't like. I mean, yeah. I mean, foreplay is awesome, and I don't know why you wouldn't want to do foreplay, but foreplay is like, I think foreplay is sometimes better than the sex itself. Like sometimes, but foreplay is sex. It's just a part where you're like sucking on each other, kind of thing. But yeah, no, foreplay is awesome. I definitely like foreplay. I definitely did a lot of foreplay with the girl last night. It was fucking hot. It was a good time. Um, But yeah, I mean, there was no absolutely no resistance when she got back to my place, like zero, like straight down to it, like just making out pretty much almost. I put on some music, poured out a drink, but as soon as I did that, sat down with her, started making out with her, and got down to it. um, and it was, I wouldn't say it was the hottest sex I've ever had, but it was intense. It was one of the, it was up there. I mean, it was good. I mean, she was a 10, um, and she was definitely enthusiastic about the whole thing. So good times. Do not ever date an 18 to 21-year-old. Women under 23 don't date, they hang out. Anything that remotely smacks of a date, drinks at a lounge, dinner for two, day trips to a museum will scare her off. The under 23 young woman cannot handle the seriousness of a dating context. Um, yeah, I mean, I agree with this to an extent. Like, I kept, like, I didn't, you know, I would I would consider what I did last night. It was a date, but it was a very casual date. It wasn't like a serious dinner we're having. It's like we're in a casual kind of Italian bar restaurant. Sitting at the bar. We shared a pizza, had some wine. It wasn't like we weren't sitting across at a very formal, fancy location. I chose the location because it's like less than 10 minutes walk from my place. That's what you always want to do. It's all about location. So um, it's not that you can't take them on a date, but just keep it like very casual. Keep it like she knew. Like this girl wasn't so innocent. Like she's innocent, but she wasn't. She knew what was going on. Like she knew when I invited her on the date to my like to the station. She wasn't like this girl was a reasonably smart girl. Like she wasn't. She was young, but she was a smart girl. She knew like that I guarantee she knew that I did, although I didn't say I lived in that location. I'm sure she knew I lived there. Um, you know, so but that's why I always arrange dates around my location because that's the point. The further it is, the harder, the longer it takes you to get back to your place. More likely they're going to back out of wanting to come back to your place. The easier it is, the smoother it is, the easier it is you make it for them to come back to your apartment, house, whatever it may be, the more likely they will come back, you know. That's why I rarely meet girls that don't want to come back to my place. Don't want to meet me in the area that I live. Um, Sterling Cooper said, "Eating ass saved from the Rona." What a legend! Sterling Cooper is a legend. Man, there's no part of this girl. I'll be honest, like there's no part of this girl that I did not eat last night. She was fucking delicious. Oh my god, I don't. This idea that it's beta to like eat a girl out or lick any part of her body is like I don't get it. Like it's like oof. Sometimes you just can't resist it. Sometimes you just cannot resist it. Is like when like oh my god, it's like a meal. It's better than a meal. It's better than food. In fact, like men actually given the choice, I think they did some study that the desire for sex is like higher than the desire to eat. And I believe it. I actually lose my appetite when I want to have sex. I don't. It's a weird thing. When I get really horny, I lose my appetite. Not for eating pussy though. I'll eat that all day. But um, nah. But this girl, I don't want to say too much. But yeah, this girl was like pristine, fucking head to toe. She was, god damn. I wish I could. I wish I could. I'm just not gonna show her on YouTube. It's not gonna happen. Like you know. Um, but yeah. But I agree to the extent that you don't want to make it too formal. You don't want to be too formal with these young chicks. It's just not. But like in saying that, some of these chicks like you know, there's not there's not it's not so black and white. Sometimes girls might be into the more formal stuff, but you don't really want to do the formal stuff, because it just makes it harder for you to like seal the deal. Um, this is the reality of of modern America. Dating makes younger women think no fun, marriage, kids, pressure, relationships, stuff that older people do. You need to be so chill that you're barely motivated to do anything proactive with her. Instead, hang out with her in a neutral context. Walks along window browsing streets are good for this. So is meeting at a local park and talking while goofing off on the swings. You can take her to a coffee shop as long as you don't buy anything. I think this is like that's too much. That's like that's fucking yeah, that's going too far for sure. Like, I mean, if I took this girl to a coffee shop, like, and didn't buy her a like, yeah, it would just look bad. Like, no, you, yeah, like, I don't agree with that. Like, if you take a girl for a coffee, buy her the fucking coffee. Like, you look like a stingy prick if you don't. And it's like you might get away with it, but she might also think you're a stingy prick, and you know, not want to, like, that might shoot yourself in the foot because she thinks it's very unattractive. Like, if you're not gonna buy a girl a fucking coffee, you're fucking bum. Like, and I'm not about, I'm not about taking girls out for big fancy meals. I don't recommend guys do that because they haven't really earned it. Like, you don't know them like that, so you don't take them out for a big fancy meal. Sometimes I'll reward chicks, like, if they're regulars and, like, I get on with them. Yeah, sometimes I was okay, sure, let's go out to eat. Like, after I've banged them, you know, but not like before. Like, I went out with this girl. We went to it. Like I said, we bought shared a pizza and some wine. Very casual. Of course, I paid for it. Imagine I asked this fucking like. Imagine I asked this girl. She's a university student to pay, like, go splits. I'm 33. I'd look like a stingy dickhead. Like, you know what I mean. You go if you take a girl out, like, anywhere, pay for her shit, like. But at the same time, I'm not saying go and take her to a 4-star restaurant and spend like $100 on her. No, don't do that. But don't be a stingy prick. Like, you'll shoot yourself in the foot if you're not gonna buy a girl a fucking coffee. Um, Especially when you're way older than them. You know, it would look bad. Yeah, so I don't agree with that. Um, don't be lame. If a 19-year old true story offers you an e-tab in a dark corner of a loud club at 1 a.m., don't refuse her like some boring fuddy duddy. Either pop that baby and enjoy the ride, or pretend to take it and throw it away when she's not looking if you're suspicious of the pill's origins and purity. Okay, so um, if you're looking to fuck, if you're looking to get laid, like, dealing with girls that are drunk or on drugs is like, it can result in, like, it can drink and drugs can be a serious cock block to getting laid, like, because especially on drug, like, if the girl gets too fucked up, like, yeah, it could mean that you can't fuck her because she gets too fucked up. Just from experience, I've dealt with girls that have drank too much, and it ends up they're too drunk for me to be able to fuck them, and it's just like, it's fucking annoying. You know, if you go out with a girl, ideally you want to be just keeping it. The goal is not to get drunk. The goal is to have sex. So just have a few drinks. If you're gonna drink, you don't necessarily need to drink. Um, yeah, man, definitely. Ideally, I don't want to be dealing with girls that are on drugs, to be honest. So I don't necessarily agree with this, but I can see where he's coming from. You don't want to look like a nerd, but you also don't want to be like, you don't want to be fucking peer pressured by a fucking 18-year-old chick. You know what I mean? Um, um, yeah, you don't want to be peer pressured by a chick, an 18-year-old chick. Like, I mean, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Push for a blowjob in an alley behind the club. Plans to make future dates are a fool's errand. Don't be her dad, but do be her daddy, right? Being a dad and being a daddy is a different thing. Um, don't be her dad. Okay. Contrary to popular misconception, most young women don't want to date a father figure. They do want to date a strong, dominant man, and older men bring that demeanor to the table. This is why it is better to dress youthfully. If you are in shape rather than in a sharp suit, and the tie if it's much younger women want to meet. Okay, this is fucking bullshit. Younger women, younger women, absolutely. The whole thing about them liking older men is the fact that you have a like. This girl was calling me daddy last night, so she was attracted to the fact that I was like older than her. And when I met her, I was wearing kind of a casual suit. Um, Let me show you what I was wearing. Yeah. So, I mean, let me see. No, so I mean, like, it's just not true that you have to. Because I mean, if you don't want to be, because if you try and like dress all youthfully and like, no, fashion is seriously important, but on the contrary, it's like it can be, you know, it can help you out more if you dress, like like your age, like dress like your age, dress fashionably, you know. Um, that's how I was dressed, you know. So I wasn't like trying to, I like fashion. I like all kind different kind of styles, but certainly this style, like, she was into it because she likes older guys. So, um I don't agree with this. Sharp suits. There's no chicks that don't like a guy in a sharp suit. There's no chicks that don't like it. It depends on how you rock it. It depends on how it looks. But like, um, yeah, if it's stylish as fuck, there's no chicks that don't like that. Um, uh, a notable minority of younger women love the business suit look, but most of them, especially the ones on the fence about dating older men, would feel more comfortable if you projected an aura of youthfulness through your dress and attitude. Yeah. So anyway, by the way, like when I first met her in the club, I was wearing this. I was wearing this. I was wearing that. But yesterday, when I met her for the date, I was dressed way more casual. Like, so this is what you call calibration to dating. This is like you're calibrated, certain situations, require certain styles, certain, if I showed up like, I mean, I'm sure she might have even been attracted to it, but it's just, yeah, it wasn't necessary to dress up that much for the date. um I dressed appropriately for the date that we were on yesterday. But no, but I was looking good. I mean, I didn't dress down. I was just dressed in a different style, And yeah, so that's the way it is. But you know, yeah, younger chicks, man, younger chicks are where it's at. Because you're just running into more problems with older chicks. Fredo says, "Show us her pic, blurry her face." Well, I'm not gonna go and do that now. Just sign up to my subscription service, man. You'll get that and a lot more without the blurry face. So, um, do it, man. Get in there. Sort your game out. Link in the chat. Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I can't say on YouTube, say and show on YouTube, but in the private chats, there's a lot more that I can say. Um, Gabriel says Max bidding fire, bro. Um, Gabriel says every girl crazy about a sharp dressed man. That's the way it is, man. It's a fact. It's just like that's what actually is surprising to me. It's like the thing, like it kind of like every man needs to understand, like we're having a variety of suits, like casual, formal, game changer. And when I go out, it always kind of blows my mind because I can attract all different kinds of girls when I'm wearing a suit. Like even these like girls that you think wouldn't like guys in suits, like they all like guys in suits. Guys in suits clean up. Guys in suits take all the girls. Like night, like a suit that's well fitted and looks fashionable and good. they'll take the goth girls, the hip hop girls, like they don't give a fuck. Like it's like the you know who if there's a goth girl, a sexy goth girl, like she wears dark makeup, short little fish, short skirt, fishnets, all that shit, and then she's with another, there's another a guy dressed like a goth, and then there's me in a fucking sharp suit. That goth girl is gonna come to me in the suit. Well, she's not gonna come, but like she's it's weird. I've experienced it, and it's actually kind of surprising. But now I'm used to it now. But um, but yeah, I don't know. Um, the kind of, I mean, that it's like guys in suits. Kind of, they can get a broad spectrum of females. About a broad spectrum of chick. It's like all kinds of chicks like a man in a suit. Even girls that you wouldn't think would like a man in a suit. Like even these feminists would like men in a suit. They all like, oh, I don't like the patriarchy. Oh, I don't like all this bullshit. It's all cap. Like at the end of the day, you know they'll go for it. They'll bite it. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I got some things to do. But as usual, like, comment, subscribe. Um, if you're interested in sorting, you want to learn more about Daygame, either sign up to my subscription service or, you know, book a consultation, and it can change your game. Sometimes the most like sometimes you need an outside perspective for someone just to tell you exactly where you're going wrong, um what you're doing wrong, why your game is going wrong, and you know so I mean it could save you a lot of trouble, save you on missing out on a lot of pussy just by talking to someone who fucking knows about it. But yeah, I'll be back on Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, peace out. Bye bye.